Central Sydney is in lockdown as police surround the cafe, continuing negotiations with the gunman.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa expressed his solidarity on Twitter with a message reading, quote, "Deeply disturbed about the hostage situation in Sydney and stand united with Australia in fighting terrorism," unquote. The International Desk reports.
A moment of sheer panic to relief and safety. 6 hours after they were taken captive, hostages started making a break for freedom. Dozens more still remain, the vacant expressions on their faces unrepresentative of the trauma they must be experiencing. It was only 3 months ago that Australia raised its terror threat level from medium to high for the first time since the system was introduced in the year 2003. However, despite such a move, at 9:45 this morning, the small Lind Cafe, which sits in the heart of the Sydney's financial district, came under attack by a suspected militant who forced 2 female hostages, including a worker and a customer, to hold a black flag containing Arabic writing against the window of the cafe. The flag was identified as a generic Shahada, featuring the expression of the Islamic State. An armed man wearing a backpack and a bandana could be seen walking around inside the cafe.
Very bad and sad thing during this festive season.
I would rather be in there with them than be out here not knowing, you know.
It's a bit weird, like I've never seen anything like this happen. Like it's probably the first time in Australian history that something this major in regards to a terrorist threat has happened.
I walked up the stairs to get my coffee at the Link Cafe, and for some reason this morning I decided to get it at the station underneath. And sorry, for some reason I did that, and then I just got pushed back by the police.
He demanded an ISIS flag and a phone call with Prime Minister Tony Abbott. However, the police said they are still unsure of the motivation behind the gunman holding a number of hostages.
We don't yet know the motivation of the perpetrator. We don't know whether this is politically motivated, although obviously there are some indications that it could be. The whole point of politically motivated violence is to scare people out of being themselves.
Apart from raising its terror threat for the first time in its history in September, Prime Minister Tony Abbott had also committed 600 troops to fight against Islamic State as part of a multilateral effort to defeat terrorism. Concern has been growing in Australia in recent months over the effect on domestic security of Australian nationals fighting with or sympathizing with Islamic militant groups in Iraq and Syria.
We are now joined by our bureau correspondent in Sydney, Lachlan Kitchen, for the latest.
The Sydney siege is now entering its 13th hour with a dozen hostages still inside the Link Cafe in Sydney's Martin Place. The police are in regular contact with the gunman inside. This alters from this afternoon, where previously police were communicating via the hostages who were allowed access to their phones and social media. Around 90 minutes ago, the lights were turned off inside the cafe by a staff member being held hostage. We still don't know if this was under the orders of police or the gunman, with police wearing night vision goggles and now at one of the main exits of the cafe. Police have said their only concern and their only focus is on getting the hostages out alive. Relatives of the hostages have also gathered in Sydney. The government has advised and asked many people to work from tomorrow to not travel into the city. However, the government has asked people to carry on as usual. This is Lachlan Kitchen reporting for Newsfirst from Sydney, Australia.
Now on to more developments of the story. Police have stormed the cafe in Sydney where the lone gunman was holding several people hostage. And Australia's public broadcaster ABC News tweeted a few minutes ago that the siege was now over. ABC also reported that 2 people have been killed while 3 are in critical condition. It is not yet confirmed if the gunman is among the victims. Many hostages who had been held captive for more than 16 hours were seen to be rushing out amid gunfire and explosions heard at the site.